Hello and welcome to round 2 of the Parenting Roundabout podcast. I'm Terry Morrow and I'm here with Catherine Haleko.
Hello.
Usually on this podcast we talk about parenting issues, but once a week Catherine and I like to get together to discuss TV, movies, books, and other entertainment topics because it's nice to talk about something other than parenting for a change. This week we are continuing with Veronica Mars Season 3 with Episode 13. And the Veronica Mars Investigations podcast covering the last 3 episodes. We can only talk about them every so often because they are bunching episodes and we are a little bit, 2 at a time sometimes, which is brutal.
Sometimes.
But this week we are talking about an episode with the unfortunate title Postgame Mortem, which nonetheless turned out to be pretty enjoyable. I would watch the spin-off of Logan and the 11-year-old going around doing stuff.
Yes, playing Mario Kart, getting ice cream.
Yes.
I mean, every time...
I want the Disney Channel spin-off of that show. No.
Every time Logan gets paired up with, like, an unlikely pal, it's always good. Like, him and Weevil, him and Wallace.
So fun. Yes.
Him and little Heather, like... This is a formula that seems to be working. They should keep trying.
Please. Really, pretty much everybody but Logan and Veronica are enjoyable, honestly.
Logan and Mercer was not good.
No, that's true. That's true.
I'm
happy we never actually had to see Logan and Madison. But
yeah.
Still.
Any of the, like, Neptune, what were they called? The O-Niners. Any of that. No.
That was a toxic crowd for him. But Logan and the cute little blonde girl who then got sent away, they were fun. He was really only seeing so he could mess with her father, but still, they were cute. He was cute with her. Anyway.
He was.
In this particular episode, Logan gets saddled with an 11-year-old, which sounds like just the lamest plot ever, but the actors made it work, I think, quite charmingly. Anyway, because Dick was wanting an opportunity to be with the older sister, and so left the younger sister with Logan, who was in a, catatonic funk over the breakup with Veronica, and how he left a message for her, and she never called him back. Like, messages are completely 100% reliable to be listened to and processed, and so if someone doesn't respond to your message, well, then that's it.
Yes, because as we know, Veronica deleted the message after only listening to the first 2 seconds.
Yes. Well, because he started it off all pissy, so... But even so, she was busy. She had stuff to do. So anyway, yes, one of the plots was Dick going off to Las Vegas and getting briefly married to the older sister, while the younger sister, who was not indeed like her twin, but in fact...
was 11.
11. Gets left behind in a hotel room with a college guy.
Right.
Who's deeply depressed. As one does. What better babysitter, really, honestly, than Logan Eccles? I think if you look up his lengthy resume, I think you can see that he's had all sorts of experiences that would be wholesome for an 11-year-old girl.
And luckily, this girl was smart.
Yes.
And she was very good at, sort of getting him out of his funk.
Yes.
Even though she, of course, shouldn't have any reason to know how to do that. But
no.
But she was quite good at it.
Yes. The actress who played her, it would be good if I could say her name. Juliette Goglia, I think, is what it is. Just perfect. The only thing I hated about that plotline was at the very end when her sister says, "Oh yeah, make sure she takes her Prozac. She's super depressed after our dad left." And it's like, oh, do we have to saddle Heather with that? Can't she just be a super precocious, adorable 11-year-old?
And there was that was it. Like, there was no further fallout or discussion of
Well, I guess it made Logan feel bad that he had yelled at her. Though, really, maybe a little overstepping there with the radio dedication to Veronica from Logan, although the song was perfect. And I forgive that entire plot line just for who's the guy who works at the hotel? Ratner?
Yeah, Jeff Ratner.
When they're playing the song, the super sad song of "You Can Have What's Left of Me," and he goes, "You don't want what's left of Logan." He smells bad.
He's been in the room that's just filled with old room service trays and empty bottles and just,
Oh, but he mopes so gloriously, poor boy. You just want to give him a hug. Come on, Veronica. In that extremely uncomfortable elevator scene, how could you just not hold your nose and give him a hug. Really?
And Heather was fantastic in that scene, just like vibrating with excitement when she recognized Veronica. Like, as if Veronica was some kind of huge celebrity. That's her!
It was so cute, and Logan was not wrong in that the advice she was giving him was advice you have when everything you know about love is from a sitcom or a rom-com.
Right.
But, so the harsh words were deserved, but still, she was just, the whole thing was so cute, the way they plotted that thing. And I look forward to many episodes of Logan sitting on the couch in his hotel suite playing video games with her remotely. Or do you think we'll never hear from her again?
I'm going to guess we will never hear from her.
By the time we return to the show, Dick will have gotten his divorce, and it will be as though none of it ever happened. Oh, Dick. Dick was particularly adorable in this one, too. He was hilarious, locking Logan out on the balcony so that the room, hotel people could come in and
clear the
get their salt and pepper shakers. This show had, I would think, a decent budget, and I don't understand how they could not pay for somebody with a camera to go to some high-rise, mid-rise hotel someplace and take film of what it looks like, instead of putting up the lamest possible green screen outside Logan's balcony. They're not even trying. That looks like a movie screen outside his window. What the heck? Yeah. How can this be? Did anybody think that looked good?
I did think that it was Dick's story that a meth lab caught fire in Veronica's neighborhood. Maybe you can see it from the balcony.
And Logan just immediately gets up and goes, looks.
Right.
This is how far Logan has fallen. This is a good indication that he buys that load of manure from Dick. From Dick. Oh, man. So I'm putting myself in the mindset here of a recruiter for Hurst College, because colleges have recruiters, right? They want to get kids to come to their college, and it's like, well, we have a serial rapist, the dean was murdered, the basketball coach was murdered. Come on down! How much more fun? We have a food court with, like, all different places to eat. You'll love it. You might get your head shaved, but no, it'll be fine. It'll be good.
We caught the rapist.
What the heck with this college? How has it not been shut down? Yeah. How many crimes have to occur in its environs?
I know, and we already had a murder plot. Why do we need another one? Wasn't it enough that unless they're connected somehow? But
I don't know. It's just they're really just flailing around for stuff this season. No, I know why they had the murder plot, because they needed a reason for Veronica to be in jail, so they could name the episode after this Mars, bars. So we've often posited that they got the punny name and then they back plotted so that to make that happen. See also the rapes of Graff, and that must be it, right?
Yeah.
We need a reason for Veronica to be in jail. Let's see. Oh, it's got to have something to do. We'll have somebody else get killed, and then she'll help somebody, and then she'll be in jail. Stop. So this was the other plot when we weren't enjoying the buddy comedy of Logan.
The not buddy comedy
Heather.
of Logan and Heather, yeah.
The basketball coach who I guess we've seen before, sure.
Yeah, because remember he told Wallace to not come to practice and study. And
the coach's son, who I guess we've seen before, sure. Who is like the star of the game, but isn't playing well, and so it what's the middle of a game in a basketball game? I want to say halftime, but that's not right. Is it halftime in basketball also? Let's display our lack of sports knowledge, shall we? Anyway, the coach is yelling at his son, and his son says, "Forget this," and takes off his jersey and leaves. And then yes, according to Wallace, in his brief appearance around a food court table. Do colleges have food courts? That seems completely bogus to me, but whatever. That's how they get the co-eds, It's never mind the murder. There's a food court. Right. He says they lost really terribly. And later on, it turns out that the basketball coach turns up murdered. Dun, dun, dun. And his son is accused of having done it. Totally circumstantial evidence, because, like, the son went there and then came home with blood all over his clothes, and his mother immediately washed his clothes. But I'm sure that means nothing. That's just people not reading the manual of what to do when a loved one dies. Don't hug them and get blood all over. Duncan could have written this book before he left town. Don't hug them and get blood all over yourself.
They did mention this in the
podcast. It's like we've been here before.
Don't wash the bloody clothes.
Anyway, so the son did a lot of suspicious sounding things. He happens to have his dad's ring because his dad just left it in the locker, and then he eventually gets arrested. And meanwhile, he and his mother had asked Keith to look into the case, and so Keith and Veronica are kind of snooping around about it, as they do. And in the end, the son is arrested and in jail, and Veronica brings him a book cut out to fit some cookies so that Sheriff Lamb would not see the cookies, because apparently Sheriff Lamb never opens the book. I think that's probably a safe bet.
Yes.
But anyway, and then at the end, she's getting arrested in her criminology class. Yuck. Because she has somehow abetted the young man's escape.
Right.
We shall find out next week what the deal is with that. But the murder, they go look, Veronica and the kid, whose name I don't even know. What's his name?
Josh, I believe.
Josh. Of course it's Josh. It would be Josh. Veronica and Josh go look at the scene of the crime and see that it looks like the car was not indeed stolen, but pushed off the cliff. But unlike the bus, you don't see pieces of it. You just,
floating
it's gone.
In the water. That's right.
Yeah. So did Josh kill his dad? Did someone else kill his dad? I personally very much enjoy learning that the PCHers are under new management. That is not so much about the violence. They just show up and scare rich people, and they hand over the keys.
Right.
So, excellent work, young man. You go. Not so nuts about Veronica constantly causing Weevil to do things that could get him in trouble.
I know.
Please stop this.
Stop it.
Among the many things that must stop. Don't do that. Weevil is such a little ray of sunshine in the show. I really don't want him to be behind bars with Mars. So,
yes.
Let's see. What else can we say about it? I was thinking that Hearst College must not pay its coaches very much if Cliff is this kid's attorney. He's like the public defender, right?
I don't think he's a public defender, but he's
the guy you get when you don't have any money.
Right. He's definitely not.
And he will be the first to tell you that.
Right.
I thought he was just the one everybody gets when they get thrown in jail. But
I think that's because he hangs around the jail to take those cases.
His name is on park benches, so he's an easy call. All right, Cliff. I don't care why. I don't care what. I just love that you're there.
Yes.
Hey, Cliff. Nice to see you. Mm-hmm. Oh, I also had to laugh when the little girl says that her family, she's so excited to be in Neptune because her family comes to Neptune for vacation.
Right.
Where do they live? Lower hell? They get to go up a few rungs? No, I don't know. I think Neptune might be down. But let's go to the place where there's all the rapes and murders.
Right.
Bring a picnic. Maybe I can stay in the hotel room of some rich guy.
In one of those like spring breaky hotels that they have in Neptune.
I guess so. Man, that does not, nothing speaks well of this family if the older sister just leaves her younger sister with whoever, but...
Right.
But, people do not vacation in Neptune. There's got to be another beach town a little bit further up the highway that has good ice cream. You can do better. We want better for you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, dear. That was ridiculous. Also, one more question, and then we'll talk about the podcast. There was a scene in which the dean's wife, so the Marses are continuing to also investigate the murder of the dean, which they do not believe was the suicide for lots of reasons. They kind of ran into a bunch of dead ends this episode, but at one point, the dean's widow comes in to Keith's office looking like when the doorbell rings and you're in your pajamas and you just throw a sweater on over it.
Yes.
What was she wearing? Like a super, super low-cut sweater, with what looked like a negligee underneath. Do we still use that word? She's been to the lingerie place that Veronica and Madison were at, and she's bought something tasteful to put under her very, 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 very low-cut sweater. It looks ridiculous. It looks like she's gone there to seduce him, and I thought, please, 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 no. And it wasn't. She was just...
Yeah, that's just what she was
running
doing.
errands. Mm-hmm. That was weird.
Yeah.
I don't get that.
I mean, are we supposed to assume that she did not kill the dean because she's the one who hired Keith to find out who killed the dean? So certainly if she had done it, she wouldn't be like, please find out.
One would think. Although she can't dress herself, so who knows?
Yeah, or is that just like a red herring?
I am so not interested in the resolution of either of these mysteries. And the Marses were deeply moved by the fact that the dean wrote a letter of recommendation for Veronica for the FBI program that she apparently still is signing up for, despite the fact that creepy criminology professor is the one who's getting her into it. And what is his thing? We still don't know.
Right.
But, I mean, the referral letter was nice, but it wasn't... It was slightly personal, but it wasn't really... I don't know. I guess it was, gee, she's great. And
now all of a sudden Keith is like, I'll die for this man.
Exactly. It seems a little overwrought. Plus, which isn't it kind of weird that, oh yes, I asked the husband of the lady I'm sleeping with if he would write you a nice note. Right. So...
And he said, sure.
It's just... Was this when he came to your hotel room to kill you? Was that when you asked him for the letter? Hope it was earlier, because he probably wouldn't have had time to write the letter before he died.
Is that what they were fighting about?
This show has lost its way.
Also, the whole thing of Mindy, the dean's wife, and the professor, like, there's this whole thing where there was a call placed from her phone to his phone when they were supposed to be in the hotel room together, and they both have the story that she called him from the lobby because she was buying him toothpaste and she needed to know what brand. Now, first of all, it's a hotel lobby. It is not a CVS.
That's right.
They have, if anything, they just hand you a tube of travels. You don't get to choose. Like, they just have what they have. And also, who cares? Even if there was a choice, just pick one. You don't have to actually call him. So that whole thing is just baloney to me.
Right. I would love it if that was truly a lame story because of that and disproven because of that. But no, I think it's just the TV writers think that's fine. Maybe Neptune has drugstores in the lobby of their hotels. You never know. It seems like the kind of place that would.
But also, if you were sent downstairs to buy someone toothpaste at 1:30 in the morning, would you be like, just give me whatever?
Yes, that is true. That is true. You have excellent points here. And I think that they will never be addressed by the show. Nor were they addressed by the Veronica Mars Investigations podcast, although they spent a great deal of time on these 3 episodes, which I was really not so happy to have to revisit the 2 episodes before this one.
That is true.
I could have gone an hour just having them talk about this one. Mm-hmm. The other ones were really rather unpleasant. But one thing I thought was interesting that they said on the podcast was that, Veronica's big complaint about Logan being with Madison, other than just, come on, Madison? Seriously? Was that Madison roofied her, and then after she was raped, wrote slut on her car. And they pointed out on the podcast, Madison did not roofie Veronica. Dick roofied Madison. Madison, as is her way, spit in her cup and passed it to Veronica. So really, Dick is the villain here.
Right.
And Dick also urged Cassidy to rape her. But we can't have those feelings about Dick in season 3, because in season 3, Dick is a lovable blonde lug who, he's a little inappropriate, but he's so fun. He's funny. He's comic relief. We love Dick. So now all of a sudden, they're retconning us that it was Madison. But amongst Madison's very, very many negative and awful things to have done, that is not one of them. So that was, I had not thought of that.
She might have done the car thing, I guess.
And the car thing remains horrible.
A big difference. Yes.
I mean, this is a hair splitting, but there's a difference between seeing somebody all drugged out at a party and writing slut on their car and drugging that person so that all those things would happen to her and then writing slut on her car. So these are the moral fine points that Veronica Mars asks us to examine frequently. So here they are trying to put the switch in. So interestingly, I think you could still see season 3 Dick doing those same things, except we don't hate him now. And I don't know who we credit for that. Ryan Hansen or the writers or just, I don't know. It's very weird.
Yes.
But speaking of retconning, season 1 Logan would have taken Heather to Tijuana and lost her in a poker game. So that character is perhaps the most retconned of all, because he's just always been soulful, brooding good guy inside a brittle bad guy shell. So anyway, that was interesting. But it was there were quite a lot of illegal activities to talk to Low Dodds about on the podcast, as all the, can you really do this? How, what kind of jail time do you get for egging somebody's car? How illegal is it to do any of the many things Veronica does on a daily basis?
And Keith, honestly.
And Keith, yeah. They're just, I don't know. I love the idea of this father and daughter so much, but it seems like everything on this show has just lost its way this season. And they've forgotten how to do it. And so they just do stuff that seems dumb.
Yeah.
And also, gee, I want this information. I'll just go talk to that person at the hotel that tells me everything I want to know.
Yeah, that's lazy.
That's nice.
It's just lazy writing.
It is.
I mean.
And then Keith just goes and talks to his friend at the parking garage who knows somebody who will just tell him whatever he wants to know. We want to see some shoe weather, people. We want to see you out there with the camera until 2 a.m.
Right.
Oh, well. Anything that just moves us further to the end of this season will make me happy.
Yes. We're getting there.
Yes, we are. And in that vein, let's talk about next week. Okay, next week, since Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist remains on hiatus, come on, we will watch episodes. Yeah, please don't make us keep watching 2 of these in a week. Anyway, we will happily and with much creative vigor watch episodes 14 and 15 of Veronica Mars Season 3, which are called Mars, Bars and Papa's Cabin. Yikes. I do not want to go to Papa's Cabin. Please, can I stay home? I will take care of the 11-year-old and y'all go to Papa's Cabin. Okay? I'll keep an eye on Logan so he doesn't jump off his balcony. You guys can go to Papa's Cabin. Aye. And that's going to be it for our Round 2 today. Please subscribe to our Parenting Roundabout podcast so you won't miss any of our episodes. We have something new for you every weekday. As always, you can find recaps, links, and an opportunity to comment on our website at parentingroundabout.com. Goodbye, Catherine.
Bye, Terry.
Goodbye, everybody.